Hey everybody, my name is Eric Hopkins and this is my good buddy Brandon, and we're using our brand new program tonight, so I hope you guys enjoy this video here. We're going to be doing these shows here. I'm going to try to do them daily for the most part here on the channel, kind of discussing movie news, movie trailers, movie reviews, football talk, Indianapolis Colts, what else here? Funko Pops and collectibles, wrestling reviews, Mike's fun facts and wrestling trivia, all that sorts of good stuff will be here on the channel each and every day throughout the week for the most part. I'll probably be visiting family and stuff like that on the weekends and stuff, but for the most part I like to do some of these just about daily. So if you're finding us for the very first time, please click that like and subscribe button, and don't forget to hit that notification bell so you get all the notifications about when we put up new content right here on this channel. So without any further ado here, let's get into some of the topics for this evening. And the first thing I wanted to talk about on all of our shows, I want to go through movie news first. And I know some people aren't a big fan of professional wrestling or football or things like that. That'll usually be saved for the end of the show. So if you are not interested in that, you have all the right in the world to check out at that point. But I'm going to be putting timestamps into these videos so you can skip to whatever chapter you'd like to hear. But the first thing I want to talk about is, of course, the movie news. And today, a trailer was released and a poster for the upcoming Disney Pixar film Lightyear that is chronicling the movie that Buzz Lightyear, the toy, is based off of. This is not Buzz Lightyear himself, the toy. That's why Tim Allen is not voicing the character. Now, Tim Allen is... a lot of people are talking about how Tim Allen has been canceled by Disney. I don't know if that's true or not, but it does stand to reason that because the movie is based on the character that the toy is based off, that it would be voiced by a different actor, and that is, of course, Chris Evans, as we can see here. Well, I'll show that here in a little bit. Let's get into the trailer first here before we get into this much further. So with that being said, let's check out this trailer real quick, and we'll discuss it. So here we go.
Go. Okay. Go, bud.
Cabin pressurization is underway.
I will say it's amazing how far Pixar's come with animation since 1995. It's almost a lifetime ago.
We have liftoff.
Wow. Wonder if Elon Musk funded this movie. It's a little cat walking up. That has shades of Dagobah from Star Wars to me. And hell, even his spaceship looks like an X-Wing. That's Wally. Huh.
To infinity
and
beyond. So summer of 2020, we're going to be getting this movie here. Just your first reactions, Brandon. What did you think of this?
So is he real in this?
Yes, the story is... So I kind of went over just a little bit before we watched the trailer. The story is basically... There's a scene in the first Toy Story movie where Buzz Lightyear walks in on a guy in an armchair watching a movie. And the movie he's watching is this movie, the Lightyear movie, that the toy was created after. So,
yeah, I remember that.
So basically what we're getting here is just the real life movie that the toy is based on. And so it's not the toy version, clearly.
Okay, I got you.
Which is fine. I mean, a lot of people are comparing these two right now. Obviously, everybody's looking at this is the Buzz Lightyear that Tim Allen voiced in the movie, and of course, you've got the Chris Evans, Captain America himself, is voicing this version. The movie, superhero version that we're going to be getting here, the origin story of the original Buzz Lightyear. So that's why I feel like a lot of people they're saying, well, look how much different they look. There's a reason for it. There's context behind it. So I think that's a good thing to have. Of course, this was also released alongside a poster for the movie that'll be coming out in June of 2022. So I'm definitely looking forward to this. I'm a big fan of the Toy Story movies. I think the Toy Story films, all four of them, are highly I wouldn't say underrated, but a lot of people look at them like, okay, they're just animated movies. Those movies have stories that are so good, they rival the best Oscar films that are out there, in my opinion.
And then, so I mean, it's not unprecedented here. Woody knew he was a part of a TV series, so and it was that reality moment for Buzz when he found out that he wasn't real, and you know what I mean?
Yeah, and we got to see, and we got to see a bit of Woody's, what the show he was based on in Toy Story 2 with the, what was it, Woody's Roundup, I think is what it was called.
Yeah.
So this is a chance for us to see what Buzz is based on, and who knows, maybe we'll get some more of those from the Toy Story, characters. But I got a feeling these two characters are probably the most, that you could do that with. But definitely a movie that I'm looking forward to. Pixar, animated or not, they have some of the best stories in Hollywood at this point. They rarely miss. I just recently watched Soul.
Soul was a good movie.
That was a great film. And it was one of those movies I saw the trailer and I'm like, okay, it looks okay, but I should know better than to not trust Pixar at this point. They definitely are doing great work over there, and I hope they continue to do just that. All right, there's a few other movie news. Before we go into that, if you want to comment on this, by all means, let us know what you guys thought of the Lightyear trailer and, of course, the poster. Let us know what you guys think about this movie. Are you guys excited? If not, let us know. Please comment below and tell us all about it. All right, another bit of movie news I want to discuss is these are more rumors at this point, but Marvel and the Marvel Cinematic Universe have definitely got all sorts of, projects coming down the pipe here. I believe even up to 31 projects, if I'm not mistaken. And one of them... Yeah, when you combine movies and TV series all together. And that don't even count Sony's Spider-Man world that they're creating as well. So we've got a lot of Marvel stuff coming down the line here. So we've now got a little bit of talk about what could be coming up when it comes to their production schedule. So let's go over here and check out this article from the Direct here. The Marvel Studios villains rumored to get their own MCU team-up movie, The Thunderbolts, could be coming to theaters before much longer. Marvel Studios President of Physical and Post-Production, Visual Effects and Animation Production, Victoria Alonso, previously confirmed that the studio has 31 projects in development. That's the story I was referencing. And it seems that one of them could be the long-rumored Thunderbolts film. Back in 2015, it was initially rumored that the villainous group would be getting a Netflix series. However, the project did not pan out, and it took a while before new developments surfaced online. The team gained traction once again with a certain Roger Wardell, who has been accurate with some of his scoops in the past. He shared on Twitter that the MCU version of the Thunderbolts would include Baron Zemo, Ghost, Justin Hammer, General Ross, and Abomination. It was only during Phase 4 that Thunderbolts received a consistent amount of buzz due to the arrival of Julia Louis-Dreyfus' character Contessa Valentina Allegra de Fontaine in The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. During the Disney Plus series, Val mysteriously recruited John Walker, who was the faux pas or pseudo de facto Captain America at the time, and the trend continued in Black Widow's post-credits scene. I don't want to get into a whole lot of spoilers, and I know some things Brandon's not had a chance to watch here. But it appears the Thunderbolts will be arriving very soon, as Geeks Worldwide shared that Marvel Studios is reportedly producing a Thunderbolts movie with production slated to begin in 2023. For those unaware, the Thunderbolts are a group of reformed Marvel villains working together to do something heroic, but are actually the masters of evil in disguise. Despite being full-blown villains, they eventually redeem themselves to transition into heroes. So think Marvel's version of the Suicide Squad.
Pretty much.
That's kind of what this is. Now, DC beat them to the punch in this regard, but there's a few things that Marvel has beaten DC to the punch with, not least of which Captain America Civil War, they beat them to the punch before Batman vs. Superman came out. And the multiverse is something else they're trying to kind of rush to get ahead of DC on as well, even though DC's kind of been doing that for many, many years at this point, especially in their TV universe. So yeah, I mean, we're going to be possibly getting a Thunderbolts movie. If it's being filmed in 2023, it sounds like 2024 is the earliest it'll be released. And that is not the only rumor that is going to be going around about production starting in 2023. Now it appears that Marvel's Shang-Chi 2 and Black Panther's Disney Plus spinoff Okoye, based on the leader of the Dora Milaje, could be getting their production ramped up in 2023 as well. And if that's the case, we're going to be getting all this stuff in 2024. We've pretty much got an idea what Marvel's going to be doing on the movie side of things through the early parts of 2023. We've still got a little bit of time before Disney Plus Day on November 12th, when we're going to hopefully find more info about what's going on the TV side of things on Disney Plus on that day. So hopefully we'll find out what they've got planned for the service in 2022. All right. And with that being said, there's one other bit of Marvel movie news that I wanted to kind of discuss here. And that is, of course, I don't know if Brandon, if you remember any of these or not. Do you remember the Marvel one-shots?
Which ones?
Okay, so the Marvel one-shots were basically DVD extras that were put on the Blu-rays and DVDs of Phase 1 Marvel Cinematic Universe movies. We had, what was it, The Consultant with Agent Coulson, a funny thing that happened on the way to Thor's Hammer. There's an Item 47, I think, was after the Avengers. Then they had the Agent Carter one, and of course the one that was, without going into too many spoilers for Shang-Chi, that immediately led into Shang-Chi, and that was All Hail the King, starring Ben Kingsley, coming back as Trevor Slattery from Iron Man 3. So without ruining anything about Shang-Chi, I'll just say that. But all of these have kind of had interconnective ties to the overall movie world. Well, now it appears that we could be getting more of these one-shots here in the future. Marvel fans have an insane amount of new content at their fingertips in just the first 10 months of Phase 4. That's just since WandaVision earlier this year. We've had like 6 or 7 projects already. It's insane. The MCU has added 3 films, including Eternals, and 4 television series. That's far more than ever before, and the pace is only set to increase. But that won't keep audiences from wanting more. Any chance to get to dive into a Marvel character or add to its vast lore, it's a tale worth experiencing. Back in the day, Marvel used to do these things called one-shots. They amounted to basically short films that gave little bits of continuity that couldn't make it into the roster of films. So is there more of these to come? There's the story of Marvel Studios, the making of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, just hit stores, and it contains a treasure trove of new information of the creation of the MCU, as well as its future. One specific section goes on over the fan favorite Team Thor, which was another one that was on the Thor Ragnarok, I believe, Blu-ray, where it was like, where was Thor during Avengers Age of Ultron? Well, or Civil War, I should say. He was living with his, I can't remember the member of his roommate, but it was a hilarious short that you could definitely find on YouTube. And the idea basically came from Taika Waititi. Well, now they're talking like they've actually got more of these in store. According to the producer, he says they're working on them. So could we be getting more of these in the MCU? If we do, I think that would be an excellent little addition to the overall lore of the whole Marvel Cinematic Universe. I don't know exactly which ones they could explore, but they've got so many new characters in the MCU. I think they could definitely find some worth checking out. But what do you think? Did you get to see many of those when they were on Blu-ray?
I saw a couple of them. But not all of them, no.
You remember which ones in particular?
No.
No?
The Thor one, yes.
Okay. Yeah, that was kind of all over Facebook and YouTube and stuff. I definitely could see them using one with Deadpool. I mean, they already had that one where him and Korg were kind of, reviewing the trailer for Free Guy. I mean, they could definitely do something like that with Deadpool to kind of bring him into the overall universe, kind of slowly. And I even saw a theory where you could possibly use these one-shots to introduce us to maybe new X-Men characters one at a time. Little shorts, maybe. I mean, maybe you want to introduce them in a movie. That'd probably be the best way to do it. But if you don't have time to do each and every one, makes some sense. You maybe put them on after a Disney Plus series, maybe in a post-credit scene or something like that. All sorts of things that you could do there for sure. All right, so with that being down, comment down below let us know what you guys think about the fact that the Thunderbolts movie could be coming in 2023, and definitely let us know about what you guys think about Shang-Chi 2. Okoye, are you? Yeah,
I will say this. I mean, especially with Thunderbolts too, it opens so many opportunities for other characters in the Thunderbolts, because there are other characters like General Ross, Thunderbolt, as Red Hulk, Ghost Rider, Deadpool. Was Daredevil? No, Punisher, Venom.
Definitely those.
Elektra. What's the other one? There's a couple.
I mean, if it's like the Suicide Squad, they've got tons of members on the roster. No doubt about it. And General Ross, who we didn't see much of after the Incredible Hulk for a long time, but then Captain America Civil War came back and we saw him, and then he showed up in Avengers Infinity War, and I believe even in Endgame, and now he showed up again in Black Widow. So clearly they're ramping him up to possibly be the leader of this group, which I believe he was in the comics, I think. And then, of course, Valentina, or whatever her name is, doing this recruiting behind the scenes. We saw her with, John Walker at the end of the Falcon Winter Soldier. I don't want to mention too much about who she has and has not recruited yet, but she's definitely been having some discussions with certain characters behind the scenes in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So I think this is definitely a place to go. And hopefully, since we're maybe going to be getting a She-Hulk series, we know that's for sure. And then there's rumors of a World War Hulk movie coming down the line with Mark Ruffalo returning as Bruce Banner. Could we possibly see General Ross become Red Hulk at some point? That's always a possibility. Yep. Yeah, I think that could be a lot of fun, and I loved anytime you can bring Baron Zemo into another series as well.
Baron Zemo, Taskmaster, Fixer, Moonstone, I believe.
Moonstone or Moon Knight?
Moonstone, Songbird, Atlas, all members of
the Thunderbolts.
Thunderbolts.
Okay, so see, that's the thing. A lot of people felt like the Marvel Cinematic Universe after Endgame, they're done. They got nothing left. You have no idea how many characters are in the Marvel Universe, and they've just barely cracked the surface. They're going to be just fine, even if we don't see Tony Stark or Captain America again, even though me and Brandon have had discussions about that one. So definitely comment down below.
Not about this. Not about
Multiverse, baby. All things are possible. But anyway, comment down below. Let us know what you guys think about these Marvel rumors. All right. With that being said, let's move on to our final movie news topic of the day. And that, of course, comes to us from the DC side of things. And that is, of course, the casting of Brendan Fraser and the new HBOMax DCEU Batgirl movie, where he's going to be playing the villain. Warner Brothers certainly has plenty to work with in the world of Batman, a character the studio is continuing to put into the spotlight within the DCEU. Not only will Robert Pattinson reinvent the Cape Crusader in his March 2022 solo movie The Batman, but the studio is also bringing the first true live-action adaptation of Batgirl in an HBO Max exclusive movie sometime in the near future. I believe it's slated to start filming, I think, in 2022, so it may be a 2023 release, but I'm not totally sure on that one. The film is still in the early stages of development, although it boasts Miss Marvel directors Adil Al-Arbi and Bilal Falal at the helm, and the rising star Leslie Grace playing the lead role of Barbara Gordon. The Batgirl panel from the DC Fandome 2021 also confirmed that Jacob Scipio will play an undisclosed co-leading role in the movie, while other rumors point to J.K. Simmons reprising his role as Commissioner Gordon from Justice League. Thus far, Warner Brothers has only shown fans an exciting piece of concept art to give a tease of Batgirl's official first look within the DCEU, although her supporting cast is still coming together. In the latest round of news, an unexpected addition to the team just made its way into the world. Deadline revealed the actor Brendan Fraser has joined the Warner Brothers Batgirl movie set within the DCEU, which will premiere as an HBO Max exclusive. The Hollywood Reporter's Boris Kit confirmed on Twitter shortly after that Fraser will play the movie's villain, Firefly. And here's a comic book look at Firefly, and we're going to get into a little bit of his powers here.
What did I tell you about Firefly?
What's that? Enlighten us. Tell us.
No, we'll have this discussion off camera, okay? I'm just saying. Brendan Fraser, the picture that I saw of Brendan Fraser,
he's not in the greatest of shape anymore.
Work to do.
Right. Yeah, but we'll get into a bit here on Doom Patrol in just a second. Well, he certainly had a smaller presence in the spotlight in recent years. Brendan Fraser is known as a key player in the numerous 1990s action films he was in, with memorable roles in movies like George of the Jungle and the Mummy series, which I think is the superior Mummy series in my opinion. Sorry, Tom Cruise, but it's better than yours. The acting veteran.
I remember when the first time I ever seen Brendan Fraser was Tarzan.
Oh yeah. Well, no, that was George of the Jungle.
Or George of the Jungle, I'm sorry.
Yeah, gotcha.
The first time I ever seen Brendan Fraser was in George of the Jungle.
I honestly don't know if I've ever seen that movie, to be honest with you.
It's been a long time. Yeah, I speak words.
It's been wrong time. Sorry,
it's been wrong. Oh, dude.
Moving on. The acting veteran should fit seamlessly into the DCEU's bright future. Brendan Fraser even has experience with DC properties after playing the role of Cliff Steele in nearly every episode of Doom Patrol. I can't look at you, which is currently streaming on HBO Max. Fans will be looking to see how his role in this show changes now that he has such a big role ahead of him within the DCEU, but it's an exciting prospect to have him take on such a large part. As for the actual character, Firefly is known as a pyrotechnics expert turned arsonist in the DC comics.
See, I told you. I said he was either an arsonist, and I couldn't remember how, but I was like, either he was a firefighter turned arsonist, or he was something. but I know he was an arsonist.
So he's a poor pyrotechnics expert if he causes all these fires. Anyway.
Gotta be good at it.
He has an intense history with Batman and Robin in the DC Comics. This should be easily transferable to the legend of Batgirl within the DCEU, and it appears that she will have a tall task ahead of her in her first solo adventure. So yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of Brendan Fraser. He has fallen off in recent years and not been in as many projects, but in Doom Patrol...
But that's not his fault, though.
Right. You know, it felt like he just kind of got typecast in Hollywood or just whatever it was and just kind of disappeared off the face of the planet. And
that sucks. That sucks.
But now that he's had some success with Doom Patrol, granted, it's mostly I think it's all his voice, if I remember correctly. I've not seen a ton of Doom Patrol. But
I was going to watch it the other day, too. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to get off topic.
No, it's fine.
I was surfing through, you know, and I started watching Visions and all this other stuff. And I forget, like, I have Peacock, HBOMax, all this shit. So when DC Fandom happened, I was like, you know what? I wanted to watch the Aquaman cartoon.
Oh, it's like SpongeBob on steroids.
I died.
It's not what it wasn't what I thought. Now, if I give it another chance, maybe.
I thought it was hilarious.
Okay.
The reason why I found it so funny was because it's like, you think of Aquaman, you think of, at this point, Jason Momoa, right?
Yeah, yeah.
This is not him.
No. I mean, he's got a blue beard, for crying out loud.
So for me, it was like, what are we doing? But it was just entertaining because I'm a child at heart, I guess. So I was entertained by it.
Right.
But that's not the point. So I watched that, and then I'm like, what else is on here? So I started flipping through, and then, you know, the Teen Titans and all this. I'm like, I need to watch these shows. Well, Doom Patrol popped up, and then the Harley Quinn thing, and I was like, I'm gonna watch one of these. I started to watch
Harley Quinn's great.
Yeah, I started to watch the Harley Quinn stuff, and I'm like, yo. But so I do want to watch Doom Patrol though. So I think this weekend is when I'm gonna start my Doom Patrol.
I don't blame you. I mean,
watch that.
I'm caught up on all the DC movies, which is easier to keep caught up with. And Marvel too.
I haven't seen Birds of Prey yet. I may watch that at some point.
It's okay, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, there's some other better movies in the DC world. But I'm excited for everything DC's got coming up forward, movie-wise, no doubt about it. I know a lot of people are upset about no Justice League Snyder verse anymore. I think if we just give them time, I think it's going to be okay. It's just everybody's a little upset, which I understand. The Snyder cut of this Justice League film was the better, more superior version.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. It was rather long, but at least it was broken up into chapters. It was,
but at least we watched Justice League together.
The theatrical cut.
And even in that, it felt like things were missing and like time jumped ahead in certain instances, right?
Right. Because they cut so much out of it.
Because you would go from one scene, boom, you're in this one, and you're like, wait, what happened?
The movie literally opens with, I think, Ben Affleck in a Batman suit with no beard.
Yeah.
The next scene, he's got a beard. The scene after that, he's no beard again because they shaved it. It's like, what is going on? But, you know, that's just a one instance. So
yeah, but there were a couple. But
no doubt.
With the Snyder cut, you got all that was missing, and it was like, okay, so everything falls into place. And the movie flowed better in a sense. Yes, it was long, and there probably some things you could have scenes you probably could have shortened. Sure,
yeah.
Some things you probably could have cut out and left out. More filler shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know if we necessarily needed one of the girls when Aquaman swam away to break into this song.
Yeah,
like, you know, for no I mean, don't get me wrong. It was very visual and very iconic feeling. But at the same time, it was like, I don't know if it was necessary.
It wasn't necessary. You could have left that part out. Cool.
Yeah.
But there was just some things that were not in context in the theatrical version. When you watched it, it was legit a jarring experience. Though I will say, I said it then when we watched it, I enjoyed it, but it still felt like some shit was off.
Right. Well,
that being said,
yeah.
The other version, like, you know, the Snyder Cut version, I mean, like I said, there's probably still some shit you probably could have still cut out of it to make it a little shorter. But
a lot of things like Cyborg and Flash were way better.
And that's the thing. Cyborg is such a huge part of the Justice League. He's also one of the founding members of the Justice League, although one of the other founding members of the Justice League was not in the movie at all. But that's neither here nor there, and that made me get kind of biased or whatever.
Right.
But you get what I'm saying.
Of course.
But Cyborg plays a huge part in the Justice League in itself. I mean, a lot of their technology comes from him. I want to say that the Watchtower was Batman's paranoid ideas, but Cyborg's the one who helped him.
Right.
And the thing was, Cyborg was still a Teen Titan at the time, too, but he was an honorary member of the Justice League, which a lot of the other Teen Titans were not, because they were trying to step on their own and be their own thing. But duty calls with Cyborg, he pulled double duty with the Teen Titans and with the Justice League.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, I mean that. Long story short of it, I know we kind of got off on a Justice League tangent there, but that's okay. But yeah, I mean, I think the fact that I like how Warner Brothers is expanding the DCEU and especially bringing certain movies specifically to HBO Max. So we're going to have these like 3 or 4 big DCEU movies next year. 3, and then the Batman, and then of course the animated Super Pets film, and then of course we're going to have Batgirl. I think they're making a Static Shock movie for HBO Max.
That's gonna be dope. I can't wait for that.
Michael B. Jordan is in behind on that one. I don't think he's going to be the actor.
He's playing Black Superman too.
I heard he's playing maybe Val Zod too. That's possible. That's a rumor at this point, I think.
I don't even know.
It'd be fine. And then, of course, Blue Beetle is another movie that is being made for HBO Max at some point. So if that's the case, when does Booster Gold show up?
Where's Green Lantern?
Well, that's another one. It's kind of, we've been hearing about Green Lantern for a long time. And supposedly
Michael B. Jordan to play Jon Stewart.
That'd be fine too if they wanted to go that route. But I mean, the idea, last I heard, was there was going to be a movie and an HBO Max series, and maybe the lesser known Lanterns are going to be on the HBO Max series, and the big hitters like Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart were going to be in the movie, and maybe they cross over. Which I'd be fine with that if they actually get the ball rolling and get going on it. But we've been hearing about this movie and series for years, so hopefully we'll get there. I think I preach patience with DC right now.
That's all you can do.
Yeah.
At this
So
point.
Marvel's got, obviously their ball is rolling. They're starting to build and ramp back up to build back up to another Endgame type event. But for now, they're back in a phase 1 mode, and DC's kind of starting to do the same thing and trying to reboot and retcon their universe as best they can with the Flash movie next year.
The thing is, like, they had never mind. I'm not about to do this again.
It's all right. So let's move on.
We've had this argument.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure we'll have more of them here on the channel, so definitely stay tuned to that. But the real question here is, guys, what do you guys think about the fact that Brendan Fraser is going to be playing the villain Firefly in the upcoming Batgirl movie for HBO Max? Please comment below and let us know your thoughts. All right, so let's move into the semi-final portion of this show here, where we're going to be discussing some pro wrestling. And of course, to start off our pro wrestling segment, we're going to feature the return of Mike's Wrestling Fun Facts and Trivia here on the channel. So let's take a look and see what Mike's trivia is about this week. I believe it has something to do with the King of the Ring tournament. He did send this video in about a week and a half ago. We didn't get a chance to do it because we took some time off here on the channel. But so that's why this... Yeah, work, a lot of that, and we needed a break, to be fully honest with you. I'm myself anyway. So hopefully with this new program, though, we won't need to do that as much because things are running very smooth so far. So let's check out this trivia here from Mike, and we'll get into the trivia and see if we can answer it. So here we go.
All right, so last week we featured the 1993 King of the Ring tournament as the WWE prepares to crown a new king this year. So I thought it'd only be appropriate that since Bret Hart was the winner of the very first King of the Ring in 1993, the first to ever be on pay-per-view, we'd move to 1994, the very next year, when Bret Hart's brother, the late Owen Hart, then known as the Rocket, would win the King of the Ring. Now, unlike his brother Bret, Owen had to win a qualifying match to get into the King of the Ring pay-per-view tournament. So what I've decided to do this time is I'm going to give you 5 names. You might want to write them down in case you can't remember them all, Eric.
Got you covered.
I want you to tell me who was the man that Owen defeated to qualify for the King of the Ring tournament, and which one of these guys was not one of the guys that he won, that he beat to win the King of the Ring tournament. I should note that the other guys are guys that he faced in the tournament. Your choices are Razor Ramon, the 1-2-3 Kid, Doink the Clown, Tatanka,
brother,
and Bob Sparkplug Holly, who I think at that time was still known as Thurman Sparky Plug.
Thurman?
Hope you're all having a fabulous week. If you've not yet done it, please hit like, please hit subscribe.
Wow.
And hit that little notification bell so you can be informed on when new content is put up on the page. Y'all have yourself a great week, and I will see you again next week for more King of the Ring trivia.
Well, he's actually told me it may not be King of the Ring trivia because now we've actually moved beyond the King of the Ring in real life as King Xavier and Queen Zelina won those tournaments on WWE programming. So I know Brandon had a little bit of he had to stop there for a second. So for if you didn't hear the question is, who did Owen Hart defeat to qualify for the 1994 King of the Ring tournament, and who was not one of the guys he beat in the tournament to win the whole thing? 5 names, so I'm assuming the other 3 he beat. That's what I'm assuming. Yeah. So 4 names he beat. 1 he did not. 1 was a qualifier. Just by process of elimination here, for me, I wanted to say that Razor Ramon was probably the guy he beat in the finals, but I'm sitting here thinking 1994 was the year of WrestleMania 10, and he had the Intercontinental title at that point. Or around in that time. I don't know exactly when the King of the Ring tournament was in 1994, what month. So I'm guessing maybe Ramon is the guy who was not one of the guys he beat. He wasn't. He was the one guy he didn't beat. Now the guy who he had to get in to qualify. If he was known as Thurman Sparkplug, I don't know if he would be the guy I would think would be in the tournament. But if it was Bob Sparkplug Holly, I would think Doink is the one he beats to qualify. So 1, 2, 3 Kid, Tatanka, and Bob are the one in the tournament. What do you think?
I'm going to go with you on this one. Because you're...
Probably dead wrong, though. I'm telling you.
No, I'm going to go with you. I think Doink is the right choice in this one.
Okay, and the one he did not beat?
Yeah. The one
Doink
did not beat?
Yeah.
Doink is the one he beat.
To qualify.
That's what I think. And then, who didn't he beat?
Yeah, it was not one of the 4 men he beat. Yeah.
Would it be Razor?
That's kind of what I think. I think Razor was Intercontinental Champion. Now, my first inclination, like I said, was Razor would have been in the finals, and he beat him in the finals. But I just feel like since they had that feud with Shawn Michaels for the Intercontinental title at WrestleMania 10 in the first ever ladder match, supposedly, that he would have been doing other things for the Intercontinental title. But again, I don't know exactly what time of the year this was. And Razor won that belt at WrestleMania 10, the undisputed Intercontinental title. So it just depends on where it falls in the year. Part of me wants to say it was earlier in the year, but I know nowadays they kind of do it later in the year if they do it at all. So yeah, I'm going to stick with Doink and Razor.
1, 2, 3 Kid was hot too, man.
Yeah, especially this was a year after he beat Razor on Raw, that surprise victory. So, of course, now watch 1, 2, 3 Kid's the guy who was not involved at all. He kind of did fall off the face of the earth for a while before he came back to his X-Pac. But I think he went to WCW first.
I'm gonna say Razor and Doink. Doink being the one he beat, Razor's the one he didn't.
All right. Well, let's look over here at the answer here. The late, great Owen Hart would qualify for the 1994 King of the Ring by defeating Doink in his qualifying match. So we got that one right. All right, cool. He was originally going to face the late Earthquake, but Earthquake left the company and Doink was used as the replacement. Owen would then defeat Tatanka, 1, 2, 3 Kid, and Razor Ramon with help from the returning Jim Neidhart to win the crown and become King of Hearts. That, of course, means Bob Holly was the one who was not beat by Owen in the tournament. Neidhart, Brett, and Owen's brother-in-law had returned earlier in the night to make sure Brett retained his WWF title against the Intercontinental Champion Diesel at the time. Also on the card, the Head Shrinkers retained tag titles against Yokozuna and Crush with a little help from All-American boy Lex Luger, who was feuding with Crush, the evil foreigner from Hawaii.
Oh, God. I remember that.
Yeah. Main event was Roddy Piper defeating Jerry the King Lawler in a terrible battle for the Middle Ages, he says. A quick opinion question for my esteemed colleague and Eric, who do you feel was the best King of the Ring?
Stone Cold.
I love how he makes me the less esteemed colleague here. Appreciate it. Let's see. Stone Cold, Brett.
It was the
Triple H.
Triple H was good too, but Stone Cold.
Stone Cold's got to be the best.
It was the speech.
Yeah.
That's the most if you bring up King of the Ring, don't get me wrong. Yes, everybody talks about Brett. Brett was the first one, but the one everybody remembers is Stone Cold.
Happy Corbin. That's my. No, I'm just kidding. That was we're not Happy Corbin at the time.
You know who else was good too?
King Booker was good.
King Booker, yeah.
King Booker was good. Now I don't remember about being the best King of the Ring ever. Now here's the thing. I will say this though: Stone Cold never ran with the King of the Ring gimmick.
No,
thank God. But I don't think Bret Hart really did either. I mean, he might have had the crown a little bit, maybe bragged, but running with the gimmick, I think it's King Booker. I think almost hands down.
It was forever too. He ran with that King Booker.
Yeah,
King Booker
and Queen Charmel. Yeah. He was probably the best. Unless I'm forgetting somebody.
Out on stage, he would do the thing.
Yeah. And they even gave him the regal
entrance. He had the regal entrance.
He was the first one, I think, who used that regal entrance, too. Now they give it to everybody who wins it. I'm waiting for him to give it to Xavier and Queen Zelina. They have it already. Brother. I didn't get a chance to watch her all this week. We'll be getting back in the flow of that probably. But, so I just... Yeah, that's to me. Stone Cold's my favorite, but when it comes to the gimmick, definitely King Booker.
Yes, Stone Cold's my favorite, but yes, King Booker is probably my favorite gimmick-wise when it came to. I mean, the King to Jerry Lawler, but that was always his gimmick anyway. So.
Yeah. Jerry Lawler obviously is the king of kings. Sorry, Triple H, but to Jerry the King Lawler in the world of professional wrestling is probably the king to end all kings. But Mike, by all means, let us know who your favorite King of the Ring was. Since you asked us, I'm kind of curious to know your answer. I got a feeling it's probably Stone Cold in your eyes, but Owen Hart was good too. No doubt about that. The King of Hearts. So for sure, I mean, he had a good run with it too. Wish he could have had a little bit of a longer run, no doubt, in his entire career and life in general.
But honestly, it was the speech that Stone Cold gave to Michael Hayes afterwards, because that was your first real introduction to, that was him stepping out of the ringmaster and into Stone Cold Steve Austin. Austin 3, he say, you thump your Bible.
Yeah, well, which was circumstance too. Do you remember the story behind that? The story behind it was I think he passed, or somebody told him that Jake was, I don't know if he was reading his Bible in the back or whatever it was, but and then I guess Stone Cold heard about it or whatever, and then just off the top of the head, he just said it, and it just, I think that was the story. I can't remember for sure.
Your Psalms and your John 3:16.
Oh no, Jake had cut a promo talking about John 3:16, I think earlier, and it just went off in Stone Cold's head.
Austin 3:16 says, "I just whipped your ass," and it was like
overnight. Austin 3:16 signs.
Caught fucking fire, dude.
Yeah, I mean, it was it's like Daniel Bryan's Yes movement, or I mean, I know some of the kids today probably don't remember some of the Stone Cold Steve Austin stuff.
Yeah, like the what thing. The what thing to me was the greatest thing ever, and it came about because he was literally driving down the road and he called Christian, and Christian didn't answer, and so he would say he was driving by something, and after every time he said what he was driving by, he just said what, as in like. You asked him a question, and he goes, "What?" And then he showed up for taping that night, and for whatever reason, whoever the interview, I can't remember who was doing the interview, he just kept saying "what" after every time he said something.
Wow. It's amazing how things like that in wrestling just take off because of something real that happens, and that makes it the best stuff.
I still love the part where it's him and Stephanie, and he's like, "We're gonna win the Royal Rumble? What? Throws 29 men? What? Over the top rope? What? You're gonna whip Deborah's ass? What?"
Stone Cold was great, man. I miss him, man. Wrestling was so bad, and I know we look back on that time as very fond because of some of the garbage today. But then again, there's a lot of garbage then too. We talked about that too. Just the main event stuff with Stone Cold, Austin, Rock, Triple H. Well, I guess Stone Cold and Austin are the same guy. But anyway, Undertaker, what? So definitely a good trivia question for this week. But can't wait to see the trivia next week. I think he's probably going to be getting more into some Survivor Series stuff, I think, is what he's talked about. So looking forward to that by all means. By all means, let us know what you guys think about the Mike's trivia for this week. Comment below. Did you guys know the answer to this? We were close. We had one out of the two right. So
I'd have never got Bob Holly. What did you say his name was?
Thurman Sparkplug. I don't remember that at all. I remember Bob Sparkplug Holly, but not Thurman. Oh boy, that's probably a good thing. Wow. Anyway, all right, so let's move on to our final segment of the show, and that is, of course, let's go over AEW Dynamite for this evening. The show opened up with CM Punk, and he had his first ever Dynamite match, his debut on Dynamite, against Bobby Fish. If you'd have told me 6 months ago, this match was going to happen in 2021, I'd have said you're crazy. You're crazy, crazy, crazy. But we got it here on Dynamite. I ain't gonna lie. I think the more CM Punk has been back, and now he's been, what, in 5 or 6 matches, I think? Mm-hmm. He's looking better and better. I think he really started to knock that rust off, if you ask me personally. But even though this article seems to think it was Punk's weakest match, I didn't think so. I thought it was he's drastically and slowly getting better since his return, in my opinion. So the ending came when Punk cradled Fish, who bridged out of it, but Punk then hit the GTS out of nowhere to win. He was even selling his knee throughout this match. He hit him with the bad knee. Fish kicked out late as the finish appeared to have some miscommunication. It looked like Bobby Fish might have kicked out when he wasn't supposed to, but it was late enough to where the ref counted 3, so it really wasn't that big of a deal. But the other night, I saw Bobby Fish on AEW Dark Elevation, I think, or one of the 2 Dark shows. And he was doing an interview with, I think it was Shivani in the ring, and he looked like he had some sort of cochlear implant in his ear. I didn't know, but maybe he's got some hearing issues. I don't know if that's true, but he had something in his ear. So maybe that could have played a part into this too. So again, we'll just have to wait and see, but I think it didn't really hurt the finish at all. So it was a good match. Good to see CM Punk get yet another win as they continue to build him up on the card. Bobby Fish got a big win on Dark, so they're not... Bobby Fish is definitely a guy who's probably not going to be pushed to main event status anytime soon. He's in there right now to make some of these other talents look good, so that's good to see. Not everybody could be main event at all times, unfortunately. We had a Malachi Black video played. He addressed Cody, saying he turned his family against him and made the crowd hate him. The house always wins. So this comes off the fact that Cody Rhodes beat Malachi Black on Saturday's edition of Dynamite. Everybody was like, oh, here we go. Cody Rhodes is burying Malachi Black like he buries everybody on the roster. I didn't see it this way. I know Brandon has kind of didn't want to see Cody versus Malachi very much anymore.
I didn't.
The first one.
It's kind of like, why though?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know exactly why they let him win.
Like sure. After he dismantled everybody, and what happened with Arn and Cody, Cody should have lost. You should see Cody at the bottom right now.
Well, and it was weird
because of Malachi.
It was weird because he was at the bottom for like 2 weeks.
Yeah,
but I'm not disagreeing with you. I don't have a problem necessarily because Malachi won 2 out of the 3. But at the same time, I don't see why he couldn't win all 3. I don't. Yeah. You're right. So I get both sides of this. I don't think it's Cody burying Malachi, though. I don't think it's that.
The story should have been the struggle is real right now. You know what I mean?
And they're still kind of playing it off like it is, but it's not as much because he got the win.
Not when you beat the man who literally has made your life hell. This should be a story of you making a comeback. By the end of it, the crowd should fucking love you and want you to beat Malachi. That doesn't happen now.
Right. And it's weird because he's getting a very mixed reaction, but it almost feels like 60-40 boos.
Yeah.
There. You know what I'm saying? At least maybe 70-30 boos. But there are some cheers still there. And I do like the promo he cuts here a little bit, which we'll get into. So he's at least they are listening to the crowd, so they're acknowledging that they're hearing it. We'll see what they do with it. And our friend Nate at work was talking about this. He watched Rose to the Top, talking about how Cody during that show, because it's a behind the scene looks at Cody Rose and his wife Brandy's life and things like that, and the inner workings of AEW and their home life and things. And Cody mentions, I believe, in the show where he just doesn't know what to do. He's trying to get the fans to cheer him and to like him still, but for whatever reason, they're still turning on him. Some of it may be the booking a little bit, but for the most part, I mean, look at the guys he did beat. He beat Miro, sure, but then Miro went on to have this massive run. He beat Brody Lee. Before Brody Lee passed away, he got the TNT title through that feud with Cody, who eventually beat, and he ended up being a big star until his passing. Darby Allin, I can't remember if they went to a draw once or so, and so Darby Allin's become a star. Cody is getting some of these guys over. But not to mention, don't forget that Cody put that stipulation in that match, to never challenge for the AEW World Title, and to this point, he has lived up to it. And even tonight during the promo, he mentioned it that it would have been easy for him to just, throw the stip out and do it anyway. So you got to give the guy credit for at least doing everything in the fans' eyes, storyline wise, to try to get over with the crowd. Now there are going to be some fans who just going to hate him because he's an EVP. They think he books himself to win, even though there was, news coming out that Tony Khan is the booker. He don't let the talent book themselves anymore. So that's probably a good thing for the longevity of the company. So yeah, I mean, personally, I think some of the stuff with Cody Rhodes is a little unwarranted, but I could see a little bit of the criticism because he has beaten a few guys here and there. Yeah, I guess it's an eye of the beholder.
I'm not saying he shouldn't beat him, but for me, like, the money was in the struggle, the comeback, him bringing the Nightmare family back together, and then defeating Malachi Black. After Malachi tears down everything that you hold dear to you, because that was the whole sole purpose of it.
Yeah. And they were doing a good job with what little they did with that.
Yeah.
You could have dragged that out. And maybe you still can.
No.
Because, he got one win.
But it's over. Yeah. That win should have been his crowning moment of I fought through hell and back, and you're the reason for it. You know?
I'm not saying you can't revert back to it, though. Like, if he has... Like, he had one win, then all of a sudden he loses 3 or 4 in a row. You could, we thought we were getting it turned around. And you could... But
it wouldn't make any narrative.
It would have been better, probably, yeah. But to be honest, though, my biggest qualm with that match against Malachi last week was not so much that Cody won. It was the fact that Cody ate a black mass.
Yeah.
And within 30 seconds, he was back up doing offensive maneuvers. I was like, okay, you got to sell that more, buddy. I know you did a little bit, but still, maybe you don't hit the black mass in that case. But that was my bigger issue with it.
He hits the black mass, and Cody doesn't hit the mat. Say Cody takes the black mass, but catches the rope, So
well, he did fall on the rope and laid there, so the referee had to break up Malachi from trying to pull him back in for the cover.
He should have immediately ate another one.
Probably when he got up, but he charged and they really went on from there. But yeah, that's my biggest criticism of it. But we'll see where they go with it. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I'm sure Cody's trying his darndest to get this to work. So I have faith in the guy. Let's hope it works out. Then we had MJF come out and he had a match with Bryce Donovan. This guy got squashed in matter of less than a minute, probably. And I know I criticized WWE a lot for having too short of matches. This is one of those situations where MJF should have beat this guy in a minute. He was there to do the job to MJF, to make MJF look good. And even the commentary mentioned, oh, look, he filled his quarterly quota of actually wrestling for a change. So they're bringing light to the fact that some of the crowd and some commentators are actually criticizing MJF for not wrestling very often. You could argue maybe he needs to wrestle longer, for sure. I definitely don't disagree. But in this case, I thought it was well done in that case. After the match, MJF cut a promo. He insulted Boston a lot. A Darby Allin chant interrupted. He turned his attention to Allin and said he broke him mentally. Now that Allin's out of his hair, there's nothing stopping MJF from his destiny. After Full Gear, it doesn't matter who wins between Omega and Page because MJF said he is the future world champion. Sting's music played and it stopped for a moment and MJF cracked up and it was all set up. MJF made the crowd go nuts even though Sting wasn't there in his eyes. The lights went out again, but this time a video played of Darby Allin beating up someone dressed like MJF on a concert stage, which was interesting. I can't pronounce this. I believe it was a rapper named JPEG Mafia, and I could be mistaken, but that looked like the show. But anyway, when the lights came back on, Sting was in the ring and whacked Wardlow, which, by the way, stop right there. When MJF and Shawn Spears were laughing at the fact that they got the crowd, oh, they thought Sting was there, haha, we fooled you. Wardlow is very subtle, by the way, is standing off to the side, just kind of looking at these two guys like, you guys think you guys are stupid. Do you guys think, so they're suddenly laying those seats still of Wardlow's going to turn.
It started back in the beginning of this whole thing.
It's been building for sure.
It started with Pillman's son,
And now last week, go ahead.
Let him take an ass whipping for 30 seconds.
It did help, yeah. And then last week on Dynamite, I guess MJF's teasing that he's got a little bit of animosity toward Wardlow because he hasn't gotten the job done a few times. And I guess he assigned Shawn Spears to be his accountability buddy. So, accountability buddy, or however you pronounce that. So, they're still playing it, but I just thought this was one of those instances they didn't say anything about it, but Wardlow stood off to the side and just wasn't laughing, wasn't getting involved with this, just looked at him like, you yahoos. So, It was very subtle. I appreciated it. A little detail there. But anyway, when the lights came back on, Sting was in the ring and whacked Wardlow, and Shawn Spears with the bat. Hit Wardlow right in the face with the end of that bat, by the way. Darby Allin then appeared in the crowd and sent MJF running up the ramp. He kind of looked like, I don't know if he was in a mask. It wasn't Michael Myers, but he kind of stood there like he was, stalking MJF. He then produced the thumbtack laden skateboard and smacked it over Wardlow's back. He had just 2 words for MJF, and it was Full Gear. So we're getting Darby Allin versus MJF in Full Gear from the looks of things. And Wardlow once again takes a beating for MJF, and that's only building it even further. So good on this. I like the build. Nothing wrong with it. I can't wait to see the match between these two. I don't know who you win. I'm assuming. See, here, this is the thing. MJF has only lost 1 match in AEW history. Darby Allin just came off the loss to CM Punk. I assume you beat MJF here.
Yeah.
And Darby Allin wins. But we'll see what they do. Either way, I wouldn't be upset, really, per se. Both guys have a great future, and I think they'll both be great. We had Britt Baker, Rebel, and Jamie Hayter backstage with Tony Schiavone. This Friday, Britt Baker will have a trick-or-treat match, no disqualification, with Abaddon for the AEW Women's title, who I guess Britt Baker's been ducking, according to Schiavone. And Baker looked at him like, what are you talking about if I still have the belt to going into Full Gear against Ty Conti, against Abaddon? Of course, Abaddon is the creepy character. Obviously, they're going to play up the Halloween aspect of this since Halloween's on Sunday, so it makes some sense, I suppose. And to their credit, I'm going to say it right now, I thought NXT did a pretty decent job with their Halloween aspects, too, even though they did have one guy dressed as a banana. But then again, we got guys dressed up by the end of this show, so we'll get to that here in a minute, too. TNT Championship, Sammy Guevara defeated Ethan Page. If Guevara were to win, the Inner Circle gets to choose who they face at Full Gear. If Ethan Page won, Guevara must leave the Inner Circle for good. So most people kind of figured that wasn't going to happen. So, and Sammy Guevara just won the TNT title, so he's not losing the belt either. So yeah, now it looks like the Inner Circle is going to get to choose who they face at Full Gear from American Top Team. Page countered the GTH and hit an Iconoclasm, followed by an inside-out slam for 2. Page slammed Guevara off the top rope and a running shoulder tackle followed by 2. Page went for a top rope Ego's Edge, but Guevara reversed it into a Hurricane Rana and cradled Page to win and retain the title. Sammy Guevara looked absolutely great in this match. Well, Ethan Page looked good too. Yeah. This match was awesome. Yeah, no doubt about it. Best match on the show so far up to this point. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing more about it. Do you have any other thoughts on this match?
I still remember the first time we saw Sammy Guevara. It was Sammy Guevara versus Kip Sabian. In
AEW? Mm-hmm. Okay.
And I said then, because he was doing some crazy shit that night too. And I was like, this dude is ridiculous, and I've never heard of him. Mm-hmm. And then, sorry, I was chewing some words.
Oh, you're fine.
And then,
the
whole thing, I know, I'm trying not to dig it out right now, but it's there. Mm-hmm. And then the whole stuff with the Inner Circle. He became you had Chris Jericho, you had Jake, you had Pride and Powerful, all kind of established guys, all big names. Mm-hmm. But then you had Sammy. It's hard to step out from behind the shadow of Chris Jericho in any fucking thing.
Right.
But Sammy slowly but surely did that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And when you can, and he was set up to do that. Jericho helped him out along the way.
Had great matches.
Mm-hmm. But now you see Sammy on his own in a lot of instances, and it's great. And like, his matches, the match he had with MJF, for example, I thought was fucking phenomenal. It was great. The only thing that pissed me off was the ending, but it was still good.
I don't remember the ending. What was it?
It was when Spears comes out.
Oh, okay. The Pinnacle stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
I think they're in that middle of that Inner Circle feud and all that.
It irritated the hell out of me. But anyway.
They're getting better with that, I've noticed. So
they have. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But then the match he had with Miro for the title.
Oh, yeah. That was great, too. Miro was selling his ass off. He was doing a great job with selling with Fuego and some of his challengers as well, even though he did win. So,
but I'm watching that match, and the whole time in that match, I'm like, oh, Sammy's got a chance. And then Miro let him down. He's great at that, by the way. And then I'm like, okay, Miro's obviously going to win this. To see Sammy pull it off at the end, I popped.
Yeah.
hard. I was like, yo, what the fuck? Because I didn't think Miro was losing that title to anybody, and not anytime soon, let alone Sammy. And I'm like, Sammy can eat this loss and be fine, you know. I thought the storyline was going to be Fuego del Sol eventually beating Miro for that title.
I mean, you could have done that. I don't know if Fuego's ready, but I see your point.
And he's not. But you could have dragged it out, you know, until you was like, all right, you know, we'll give you the shot. But I think having Sammy win it, while at the same time you're using where there was Chris Jericho being used to help bring along Sammy. Now Sammy is put in that role to help bring along Fuego. You know what I mean? And that's a huge leap in responsibility, going from the guy who was being mentored to now being the mentor.
Right,
you know
right.
What I mean? And Sammy shows that he can stand on his own 2 feet. Good mic skills, hell of a hand in the ring. So, you know, Sammy's come a long fucking way from the first All Out.
That being said, though, Sammy has, and I think it was his time. I think the Miro's title change was a good thing. That does beg the question is, though, what are they going to do with Miro? I'm interested to see where they go with that. I still want to see him be a killer.
Title.
Well, I know he had his promo like he was questioning, like, why would God allow this? And, you know, his wife won't let him come home. So he was definitely talking it up. So, and I still think we're going to get Lana, a.k.a. CJ Perry, in AEW sooner rather than later.
Her 90 days has got to be up by now.
It's coming soon, I think. I don't know exactly when, but I wouldn't be surprised if any day now or by the end of the year, possibly for sure. But we'll see where they go. And hopefully he'll come back and, like you said, title hunt. Maybe he could be a good challenger for Adam Hangman Page, even though I would think Miro loses that title match. But at the same time, be a good feud, I think would be a lot of fun. So we'll see what they do. After this match, Scorpio Sky came out, and he and Page beat down Sammy Guevara. That's when the Inner Circle in force ran out to make the save. Jericho then cut a promo. This is a great promo by Jericho. He respects that Sky has beaten him twice, but Page only beats himself in his hotel room. Funnier than hell. And then, of course, you've got Scorpio Sky standing next to Ethan Page saying, that's not true. I was with him. I was there. I was like, brother, no, stop talking, please. So this was hilarious.
Gotta check it, man.
Know the surroundings.
Brother.
Read the room, man.
Read the room, brother.
Sammy Guevara won, so there will be a 5-on-5 Full Gear tag team match between America's Top Team and the Inner Circle at Full Gear. It will be a Minneapolis street fight. Next week, the Inner Circle will decide which members of America's Top Team they're going to face. I'm sure Junior Dos Santos will be a part of that. Obviously, Page and Sky. Maybe Masvidal. I don't know, who all they've got there, but they're going to get 5 members. Maybe I bet you they throw Dan Lambert in there though. You watch.
Oh man,
because they're gonna love to beat him down. So we'll see what happens there. That could be interesting. Bryan Danielson and Eddie Kingston were backstage with Tony Schiavone. This kind of stemmed from a promo I think they either did on Twitter or on one of the dark shows, but these two guys had a great back and forth and a promo with each other. This face-off in the AEW World Title Eliminator Tournament, Kingston was insulted by Danielson's prior comments before, accusing Danielson of not walking a mile in his shoes. Danielson said that's the Kingston he wants to see. He's been through it too, but he doesn't complain about it. Some of the best wrestlers in the world are in this tournament, but on Friday night, Bryan Danielson will prove that he is the best. So even though poor Lance Archer fell right on the top of his head, which you've not seen that, by the way. No, I showed it to you, I think. The moonsault where he landed on his head.
Yeah.
So even though we didn't get Lance Archer versus Daniel Bryan, which may have been the plan, we don't know, Eddie Kingston versus Bryan Danielson is going to be a great replacement. I have no problem with this. Sure. Can't wait to see this. I can't wait for Rampage on Friday night, so this will be fun. Even though I'm sure Danielson's winning, but it's not about that sometimes. It's about the story, and it's about how they build and how they execute, so I'm looking forward to it. The Lucha Brothers were backstage with Tony Schiavone. Penta laid down the challenge to FTR in Spanish. Then Phoenix did the same thing in English, so it looks like we're getting this match at Full Gear, which could be fun. We've seen it with the AAA titles there. But at the same time, this is for the AEW titles. We'll see where this goes. I got a feeling Lucha Brothers ain't dropping those belts yet. They just won them All Out. So, they'll still have a great match with FTR, no doubt about that. So it'll be at least a good undercard match. TBS Championship Tournament, Hikaru Shida defeated Serena Deeb. I like this little story that they were telling where Serena Deeb out of nowhere beat her last time when she was supposed to win her 50th AEW win. This time, though, Hikaru Shida gets this, though. This is the best women's AEW match probably in forever since Riho versus Deeb at Double or Nothing back in May. These two women definitely did work their asses off. I have no doubt about about that. And of course, anytime you can see women in any company doing a good job, that's definitely a good sign. So no doubt about that. But this is one of those where Deeb grabbed Sheeta's 50 win plaque that she hit her over the head with last time, but Sheeta had it scouted. Sheeta considered hitting Deeb with the plaque, but when the official took it away, Deeb poked Sheeta's eye and cradled her for a great near fall. Another cradle exchange finally led to Sheeta picking up the win here, and she gets her 50th win, and she moves on in the tournament. However, after the match, Serena Deeb grabbed a chair and repeatedly smashed it over Sheeta's leg. She continued to dismantle Sheeta's knee until the officials came out to restore order. So Sheeta's got Nyla Rose next week or whatever her matchup is. So it sounds like this injury could be playing a major role in the tournament against the Native Beast. So I wouldn't be surprised if Nyla Rose wins that match, and this feud between Deeb and Sheeta continues to become more personal as we go here. But that's just my opinion. Any thoughts?
No. I did see that match between those two, and her winning. I thought they were trying to play up on like her going or turning into a heel now because of
Sheeta.
She was
Or Deeb.
Deeb.
Yeah, Deeb's been kind of playing the heel role lately.
Because even like I think in the match that she won, she did some shit afterwards.
Yeah, she hit her with that plaque.
Yeah.
So she definitely been doing it. So yeah, I think she's pretty well already there. But yeah, absolutely. So if these two guys, or two women, I should say, continue, I have no problem with that. Let's see how personal this can get. We'll see what happens in the Eliminator Tournament match. We'll see if Deeb gets involved. AEW World Championship Eliminator Tournament. Jon Moxley defeated Preston Vance immediately after hitting the ring. Moxley is definitely, in my opinion, going heel. There's no doubt about it. Last two matches he's been in, he even cut a promo talking about how he doesn't care about titles. He doesn't care about being on the road. Doesn't care about wrestling. All he cares about is his little girl at home, and he just wants to get home to her. So in order to do that, he is destroying everybody in very vicious fashion. He landed a German suplex to start and stomped 10 down in the corner. He sent 10 into the ring steps and ripped at his mask, biting him as well, cutting him open. 10 was busted open badly as Moxley hit the paradigm shift for the squash within a few minutes. So looks like, I mean, Moxley and Orange Cassidy are going to wrestle next week in this tournament as the tournament rolls on. Sounds like Orange is going to get sacrificed here, and we're going to get Moxley Danielson, in my opinion, and that could be
what I said before.
A war.
Yeah.
And if that's the finals at Full Gear, sign me up. I'll tell you right now, that'll be a great match, even though I would assume Mox will probably win somehow then, go against Adam Page. That's my assumption, but hey, I thought Braun Breaker was winning the NXT title this week, and that didn't happen either. So what do I know? We'll see what happens, but we'll see. I'm looking forward to this, and I can't wait. I like this turn from Mox. He's always been vicious, but he's cranked it up to 11 here lately, and it's been great. FTR and Tully Blanchard were backstage. And again, we could get Mox versus Kingston, too. That's one way to submit the heel. But this is a different scenario. But I agree. We've gotten it. It just depends on what they do. FTR and Tully Blanchard were backstage. They waited almost a year to get back their championships. Come Full Gear, the Lucha Bros will have to do something they've never done before, and that is fight. So good tag match, as we said. Then we had the Cody Rhodes and Andrade El Idolo segment. This was tons of fun, really, just because Cody was playing well to the crowd here. Cody came to the ring with Arn Anderson, was met with heavy boos, as we mentioned earlier. Whether you believe it or not, I hear you, he said. He hit the Tiger Driver 98 to win against Malachi Black, but for a brief moment, he thought about hitting a different move, alluding to the pedigree, which he looked like he was maybe going to pull off, but he didn't do it. He didn't do that because he said that's too easy. He asked the fans to not forget the person who built this place. He tossed his shoes to the crowd and asked them to take a moment in them. Cody debuted at 20. His wife is too hot for him and his brother's better than him. He will never leave behind the cultural legacy of his father, Dusty. I will not turn because I love you guys very much, quote unquote. He turned to Arn Anderson and said it was an honor to stand in the ring with him before shaking his hand. Now, I know Cody has been on the record as saying he'll never go heel, but if he's listening to the crowd as he says he is doing, I think this could be a very slow burn, and he will turn. It's just going to be one of those, like you said, maybe he has to sink lower and lower. But for now, he's kind of, trying to play it up. So we'll see where they go with it. Andrade El Idolo interrupted. He said that the people don't like him or Cody, but the difference is Andrade does not care. Cody makes stupid choices like getting in Andrade's business. If Cody wants, Andrade can make him his little bitch. The lights then went out, and Malachi Black appeared in the ring, spraying mist in Cody's face. He and Andrade beat down Cody and Arn when Pac ran out to send the heels packing. So it looks like we're getting Cody and Pac versus Andrade and Malachi. Could be a great tag team match, no doubt about it. I'm guessing that's your Full Gear match. And we'll see how these feuds further, and we'll see if Cody descends into the darkness as the House of Black could get yet another victory on Cody. So we'll see what happens, but that's my prediction. We'll see how it goes. They ran down the lineup for
that
Rampage.
Just made me realize I would like to see Pac versus Malachi.
I mean, you never know if they're getting along now. How long does that last? They're both heels right now, so you never know. I mean, we'll see. But yeah, definitely the match I'd love to see, no doubt about it. Dark Order came out in Halloween costumes. The Elite came out in Ghostbuster costumes, remixed the theme song and all. So yeah, this was definitely wacky when it comes to the costumes and some of the action in the ring. So if you don't like some comedy thrown in, you're going to hate this. If you can stand it, you might like it. There was a spot where they suplexed, they powerbombed Colt Cabana on the proton packs from Ghostbusters in the middle of the ring. And all I could think of was when the proton packs exploded, that's valuable merchandise, man. Collectibles galore. But, anyway. But yeah, this was basically just a lot of fun until the ending, basically, for the most part. But yeah. So for some reason they repeated here. They repeated the report twice. Okay, so so this was ridiculous, and it just eminently entertaining at the same time, kind of, again, depending on your taste. AEW isn't perfect, but no wrestling show in the world can match its pure fun factor, I suppose, according to this article. But again, it's all about your taste. Some people are going to hate this, no doubt about it. So yeah, it basically boiled down to all the other Dark Order members came out and got involved. A member was dressed up as a horse, and the Elite low-blowed him and hit the BTE trigger. Now, this guy was masked up with a horse mask, and apparently, I believe one of the Young Bucks removed his mask, and it was Brandon Cutler who had duct tape over his mouth, so he couldn't warn them who he was, so he took the BTE trigger. The guy who they thought was Cutler, the Marshmallow Man, or the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man from Ghostbusters, was Hangman Adam Page, who was unmasked, and then he hit a buckshot lariat on Matt before Grayson landed, and Orahira moonsault on the pile. The Deadeye followed on Kenny Omega. The what?
What did you say he hit?
Orahara. I think that's how you say it. Orihara? I think that's what it says. Moonsault on the pile on the outside. The Deadeye followed on Kenny Omega in the ring. Kenny Omega's in a Ghostbusters outfit, and Adam Hangman Page is in a Marshmallow outfit when this Deadeye was hit. So, yes, it definitely looked ridiculous. Then John Silver hit the Spin Doctor for the win, pinning Matt Jackson, though, not Kenny Omega. So, very important to point out there. So, again, I think a lot of this was just trying to have fun with the Halloween aspect of it. And it continues to build the Hangman Dark Order stuff against the Elite, but really, all things considered, it didn't do a whole lot for the builds for any of these feuds, in my opinion. What do you think?
No.
Not a fan of the costumes, I'm guessing.
It's not even that. Like, if I'm gonna give WWE shit for goofy,
I hear you.
Out of, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But here's the thing: they've been doing this goofy shit now for months. And it's gotten to this point with me where I'm just kind of fucking over it.
Yeah, the Elite makes sense. Yeah, I hear you. It's kind of been poured on rather strong, no doubt about it.
So it's like, okay, cool.
Mm-hmm. And I think it only works because they're heels. But even so, even though it does work, it can be done too much, no doubt about it. So I don't disagree with you. I mean, other than the Hangman Page and Omega stuff, the Dark Order Elite, I don't see a whole lot coming out of it. Outside of the fact they're just helping Hangman Page in between now and Full Gear. I'm assuming, Adam Cole could probably have a match at Full Gear. I don't know where the rest of the Elite's going to be doing at Full Gear outside of Hangman Page or Kenny Omega. So we'll see where they go with this. But yeah, for one night, I guess if you're just want to see a pure match that's just fun with Halloween costumes involved, this is it. I mean, and NXT did some of this the other night too. They had a Scareway to Hell ladder match. They had a Trick or Street fight or a Lumberjack-O-Lantern match. They had all of this stuff. So again, wrestling is this way sometimes. I'm not defending. I would prefer my wrestling to be, serious and to the point and more like a real sport. This was just supposed to be for fun. If you didn't like that part of wrestling, you're not going to like this. So just bear that in mind when you go to watch this. So any other thoughts on this show or anything else we talked about before we get out of here, buddy?
Nah, man.
All right. Well, I think this was a pretty successful first night with the new program and everything set up here. So by all means, if you're finding us for the very first time, please click that like and subscribe button. And don't forget to hit the notification bell so you get all the notifications about when we put up new content right here on this channel. And definitely comment below. Let us know what you guys thought about all these trailers. And until our next video, guys, take care.
We about to turn it on.